Good morning, everybody. This is my second time speaking here to this wonderful congregation. And at the risk of being known as a slideshow guy, we're going to go again. Where is your heart? It's from Luke 12 to 32 through 40. So I had two thoughts when I first saw this. And there they are. And this is from the International Children's Version. I find why surround yourself with a lot of unnecessary words. Just straight and simple. Right there, don't trust in money. You read that last highlighted word. Your heart will be where your treasure is. And always be ready. The two key thoughts. The Son of Man will come at a time when you don't expect him. So it's like the Beatles song, money can't buy me love. And be ready at all times. And I don't have a Beatles song for that, but it's pretty simple, right? You can't cram for this exam. You've got to live the life and practice what you preach. All pretty catchy phrases. So together was the theme of Spectacular this year. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. But together is grounded in the principles, the enduring principles that all are called and the worth of all persons. All are welcome. So that's not a pool table. We thought that was a pool table, maybe. Why is there a pool table in the theme? And then we thought, well, maybe it's a ping pong table, because that would be fitting for spec. But no, it's what you guessed. It's a dining room table, and it offers an invitation to join, to share. Your heart will be where your treasure is. So kind of skipping to the chase would be a lot of that for me. Where's my treasure? It's in the people that I interact with, and it's within the relationships that we make. Actions define you, not your beliefs. That was another thought that I had when I first read the theme, where is your heart? Actions define you, not your beliefs. So if my heart's in the right place, you'll know it by my actions, my attitudes, and how I respond to others. My second thought comes from a previous year at a spec story. The theme was called Story. It had a hole in the middle where you place your own story. The theme was don't let others define you. In other words, don't let the actions or words from other people turn you into something you are not. And if you're a good person at heart, then find those people that will encourage you and lift you up to be the best version of you. People may try to label you. Lots of negativity in those words. They're ugly words. What's important for us to remember is not to label others. And here's a thought. We label ourselves. And not always in a good way. And sometimes we start believing those negative labels. We are fragile people. I like this one best. So try this instead. If you're going to label yourself, I'll go. I'm a father, a husband, a coworker, a friend, a Christian, a brother, a son, a preacher, a camp counselor. And now place this phrase in front. How can I make myself a better father, husband, Christian, friend, brother, son, preacher, counselor? Block out the negativity. Believe in yourself. Do what you can as well as you can. It's all like a Disney movie. And the bottom line is you control your life. You write your own story. So this year's spec was together. That's morning celebration. And spec challenges us to do new things. Of course, it wouldn't be spec without a crazy campfire slide. And arts and crafts. This is pottery class slide. More arts and crafts. There was glass etching. That's a octopus on a coaster slide. And of course, sports. Spectacular would be nothing without the sports. So this is kind of our schedule. We had about half the size of spec that we normally would have, but it actually gave us a little bit of time to get to know the kids more and go to more sporting events and not just be with our own group. So there were some positives in that. But you can see we were pretty busy going and supporting our kids. young adults, I should say, throughout the day. Slide. I like that action shot. Slide. And of course, there wouldn't be Spec without some medals. So we did a fair share of gold medaling, which was very satisfying. And, the kids get together, of course, and they get to make new friends. And those camp friends, hopefully, will travel with them, as the saying goes, throughout their lifetimes. Slide. And, of course, we had our theme class. This one's a little bit harder to read. What brings you joy? And how did it bring you joy? And where did you find God's presence in that joy? Where did you find God's meaning? Next slide. But it also had us focus and examine what we struggle with. Is that struggle something we must face by ourselves? Do we have others to support us? And once again, in your struggle, did you find God's presence? Slide. This was sitting down with people you didn't know and having a conversation. And I met a new friend. You can't really see him clearly on the end. He's on the right. His name was Andre. He was from Ukraine. But he was so fascinated by what we have done as a church and what we've done with our camps and the freedom of the young adults that we gathered for them to learn new things, try new things, do new things. And his goal is to capture some of that and take it back with him to that, unfortunately sad, very sad and heartbreaking situation that he's coming from. But I designated him as my best friend for the week. So I made a new friend as well. Slide. It's about challenging new things. This was called I Dare Ya. So this was I believe it was Sprite, Ranch, and there were some chunky bars, which were carrots, I believe. I did not put this together, but she said it wasn't bad. So, slide. So what do I call a group of people I don't know yet? My future friends. So that was us waiting for our morning celebration. All people that I really... Let's see. I knew just a couple people out of that group, so it was an opportunity for me to grow and learn and meet new people, and I loved every minute of it. That slide. That's some of you may know him, Travis Hunt. On the left, I had to travel 1,200 miles to meet him, and his family is fantastic. He had his 3 sons there. They were fantastic to be with. And on his right is Anna. She's from the Baltimore area. Slide. And again, other people that I may meet someday at Bountiful, but the Carnahans, Tim and Timothy, fantastic father and son combo, the dual combo there. Slide. Slide. And you never know who you're going to meet playing games of ping pong. So that's Spec Barney. And you can follow him on Instagram, Spec Barney 22, and see all his adventures. Slide. Again, just wonderful time and opportunities to meet people and make new friends and try new things and delve into relationships. Slide. And that's us making it home safely, right here in our own church parking lot. So I think they had a great time. Slide. And we are West Pone. We merged with Mid-Atlantic, or North Atlantic, so we added the A. But that's the spirit of our delegation. It's someone wearing a horse mask and doing crazy things, and even though they can't see, leading the cheers. It's just a wonderful spirit. A little wacky, too. Slide. And if you can't read that, it says, it's a Walt Whitman quote, says, "We were together." I forget the rest. And that's all really matters. The main thing, we were together. We're going to hang on that slide for a while. So where is your heart? It should be in community. You cannot share God's news if you don't step out of your comfort zone. Tim, he was in one of those slides, Tim Carnahan, he spoke about seeding churches. And right now, all of our churches are facing a decline in population. So our biggest challenge really is long-term survival, and it forces us to rethink what is church. And if we think of church as 1 hour of we coming together to praise God, then that may not be enough. God calls us to be in action. One of the other scriptures for today was Isaiah 1:1. So it was number one on God's list for Isaiah to tell his people. And it goes like this. Wash yourself, this is a subset of it. Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Remove your evil deeds from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do good. Seek justice. Rescue the oppressed. Defend the orphan. Plead for the widow. In other words, he does say, praise me, show me gratitude, obey me, and get busy. Actions speak louder than words, and that's another catchy phrase. One of our activities at the end of our day, we would have a devotion, and we would share our highs and lows, and we added what we call the God moment. Where did we find God's presence in our day? What brings us joy? What was meaningful about it? And did you sense God's presence? Interestingly enough, it was not always in the high moment that brings you to experience God. So think about that. And the bottom line is that if you are not looking for God in your life, you may not notice when he is there. These were so successful that one of the young men in our group suggested that we continue this after our time at Spec. So this was a camper, not an adult. So I always remember, never underestimate the youth. So I got a text this week suggesting that we meet virtually on August 27th. And that's going to be fantastic. So back to Tim Carnahan. And he pointed out later that same night, it was a simple devotion, our coming together. But he said, that can be a form of church. Mind blown. Really thinking out of the box. So if we think outside of that box, when we're gathering towards God's purpose that has become, then it becomes church. And this may not raise money, but it does bring awareness of our principles and what we stand for, and it shows you where our hearts are. Let's talk about inclusion. Diversity makes us stronger because we can learn from each other. One thing I learned about diversity was from the Black Lives Movement. That term, colorblindness, which I thought I was doing the right thing. So if I don't know you or I've never worked with you, my approach is to treat you the same. I will treat you with respect. But what it does, it ignores your culture, it ignores your life's experiences, it ignores your joyful moments, and any of the struggles that you've had. If you're colorblind, then you're treating everybody as if they are transparent. In healthcare, we're taught, treat the person, not the number, which means I can control your blood pressure, but if your medicine is causing you a lot of side effects, I'm really not doing you any good. So, in a sense, if I change my perspective, my level of care for you doesn't change. It's still high, but it becomes more meaningful. And that is where my heart should be, forming little communities, sharing in our existence. Our table of inclusion at SPEC discussed another group that my generation and older generations might struggle with. And it's not that it's a struggle so much as that I don't have a lot of experience with it, but it becomes my responsibility to listen and try to learn. So we're familiar with the terms gay and straight, but what about cisgender, non-binary, transgender? All foreign words to me. Pronouns of identity, he, she, his, her, they. And why should we care? Because it's our ignorance can cause exclusion. Our ignorance causes isolation and lack of love. And when I think about my time in camps or as even right here with young peacemakers, I always consider, wow, what did we teach them today? But it's a lot more than that. It's not about how much we taught them, it's about how much we loved them. So my heart says, learn a bit more, make my table bigger. This is my second to last thought. So I'm at Spec, and I'm sitting on kind of a half-raised loft bed. It's odd. It's not down here. It's kind of up here. And I had my phone in one spot and a little table. My wife always tells me, take a sheet. Put it on your bed. You know, it's like, nah, I'm fine. I got the sleeping bag. And then I'm even sleeping in the sleeping bag because it's like 90 degrees at night. Boy, what you don't know is when you put a slippery surface on a slippery surface, bad things can happen. So it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh, what time is it? And I'm reaching for my phone, and I'm reaching my phone, and I'm reaching for my phone, and I start sliding, and I fell out of bed. The point of that story is if the table is too far, bring it closer. We always ended our evening devotions with the mission prayer, and that's where I will end today. If you know the words, say them with me. God, where will your Spirit lead me today? Help me be fully awake and ready to respond. Grant me courage to risk something new and become a blessing of your love and peace. Amen.